We're coming up to the beginning of the school season, and that's a very important time to review your child's immunizations. There are immunizations that are recommended and required for school entry, and schools turn out to be a place where these infections can spread. And so it's very important that parents make sure their children are up to date with immunizations when they start school.
Life expectancy has really improved dramatically in the last century, and a big part of that is due to the development of vaccines. We used to take it for granted. It was very common for kids to get diseases like measles, mumps, chickenpox. Those diseases have a lot of serious consequences. We're fortunate to have vaccines now that protect us against 14 different diseases.
Sometimes parents wonder why we give so many vaccines and why we give so many at a young age. And the reason for that is that it takes several doses of most vaccines in order to become protected. And in addition, infants are the most susceptible to these diseases. So we want to get the vaccines in early to protect them from diseases when they're most susceptible to them.
So Merrick is our first baby, and it's interesting when you leave the hospital because they put him into your arms and you put him in his car seat and there you go, and he's your responsibility. And it's a little scary at first. They don't necessarily come with little manuals.
That's my baby. And 2 little kittens and a pair of mittens and a little toy house and a young mouse.
You know, one of the best pieces of advice that we got from our pediatrician was that ultimately, you know, your parental instinct is the best indicator for what you should be doing with your baby. So once we kind of accepted that, that made things a little bit easier. Also, as a part of that, we think that protecting him from illness is important because, you know, little kids, they get sick and they can't fight it off as well as we can as adults. So we found that vaccination is a part of kind of that package. So we've been learning a lot about immunizations, and one thing that we learned was that they're not just for children and our babies, they're actually for adults, and adults can do some things to also protect their babies. Our doctor recommended that we do the Tdap vaccination so that we protect him from getting whooping cough, because until he has his full series, he isn't protected.
Probably one of the most heartbreaking sounds you'll ever hear is of a baby struggling to breathe while coughing with whooping cough. They can break a rib, they can become dehydrated, they can become hospitalized, and some babies die from it. And this is something we can prevent by making sure we're up to date on our immunizations. HPV is another important vaccine for young women between the ages of 13 and 26. This prevents cervical cancer. This is amazing. Thousands of women are diagnosed with cervical cancer every year and can die from this disease, and now we have a vaccine to prevent it.
You hear a lot about potential concerns about vaccines, side effects from vaccines, and what I would like to encourage people to do is, if they have questions about vaccines or vaccine safety, to talk to their doctor, because there's all sorts of misinformation available on the internet, and what I'd recommend is talk to your doctor about your concerns.